ears say, she's burned too many bridges, and I don't know if there's anything I can do for her. And that hurt my feelings because I'm like, brother, you never pick up the phone and say, hey, Mo, what's going on? Before you went on the air and you said to millions of listeners, she's burned too many bridges. You were a part of pushing that agenda before you even asked me what was going on. So when I got on the show, I knew I needed to have that conversation because you wasn't returning my calls. You wasn't returning my texts. See, I gave you the opportunity to have a private, when people say, why didn't you talk to him privately? I gave him the opportunity to do that. My texts and my calls went unanswered and unreturned. And someone would say, well, why wouldn't you return it? If you put out there that we have this relationship and this friendship, but when it came about, oh, you're going against the powers that be, and I want the powers to be that, no, I'm not on that side. So I'm going to say what it's going to take for them to know I'm with the machine. I'm not about equality. I'm not about what's right and what's fair. So when I went on the Steveharvey show, I knew the conversation I was going to have with my brother. I didn't know the conversation he was going to have back with me.
He said something. He was on D.L. Hughley's new show.
Yes.
Did you guys kind of see the conversation?
Yes.
He mentioned that he edited the interview to protect you.
Yes.
What didn't we see in that interview?
Tell them what they didn't see.
Well, let me say this. When I watched Steve on the D.L. Hughley show make that comment, and see, I'm trying to learn how to not take things personally, okay? That's the Sagittarian in me, because we fight and we be like, who that nigga talking to? But I'm trying. And when I saw him say, I had to edit things out to protect Monique. Well, I said air the whole interview, because there's nothing I said that needed protection. But what you said was, yeah, I'm pissed that these white boys gonna do me like that. And them white boys were supposed to call me, and them white boys and them white boys. Well, all of that got edited out. Why didn't you air that? Because there's nothing, and when he said, I would have appreciated had them white boys called me up and told me what was going on. I said, oh, like I would have appreciated had you called me up before you went on the air to millions and told them about the bridges I burned. So see, when you have people that say things like, oh, I was protecting her, well then DL should have said, brother, what is it that she said? See, because, and let me say this, and I'll try to say this with love, but I say it because it's how I feel. I've never met so many cowards and our black men in show business. I've never met so many black men that have no goddamn backbone. And that bothers me. Because y'all know when the cameras aren't running, see, I know these people when the cameras aren't running. And that's when I look at my brother and I say, how dare you, Steve?
And the irony is, the same stick that he was pointing at Monique and trying to beat her with by stating she did not understand the business, shortly thereafter was the same stick that they beat him with when they took away both of his shows. Yes. Because though he may have edited out the comments about the white boys heard the comments that he made that were edited out.
So you think that was...
Well, I think it was a dual aspect of it. What you can't call Steve is lazy. He's a hard worker, and he puts it in. And everything that he attained, he deserved. You can't take that away. What you can't call him is not a smart business person, because he formed a deal with IMG in order to have ownership over his show. Well, when they realize that you got ownership of your show and you a number 4 show in all daytime, that's a winning formula. You winning. To remove that says to people at large, it doesn't matter how much you're winning and we can't be at a piece of it, and you a person of color too, we're going to remove you from the scene. So he is a man that said to the world, you need to do it the right way, and I know the right way to do it. Yet in him doing it what he thought was the proverbial right way, look at the outcome. And he is an individual who said, I know the right way to do it too, and that's to stand up for equality. But the outcome was the same thing. They both cast you to the side. You tried to do it that way, and you didn't do it that way. You just dealt with it from an integral standpoint. Then when all of it's gone, you have to ask yourself, can you live with yourself for doing it the right way versus playing by their rules and doing it the wrong way, and you still have the same results?
When I think about, we just mentioned Lee, well, like previously, we're talking about Mr. Harvey now. Paul Mooney has this bit called the nigga wake up call. You guys familiar with that?
Of course.
Is this their nigga wake up call moment?
You gotta ask Paul Mooney.
You gotta ask Steve.
You gotta ask Steve. You gotta ask Lee. You gotta ask Oprah. You gotta ask Tyler. You gotta ask him, when was your nigga wake up call moment?
Steve came back out, and it seemed like he kind of regretted some of the stuff that he was saying, or at least the stuff that got out. He was talking to DL, and he felt like he learned his lesson from that. I guess I'm just kind of hinting how the tide kind of turned, in a sense.
Eventually, who you are will always shine through. It may take a day. It may take years. Eventually, who you are is going to shine through. And I'm not saying people don't make mistakes. Let me be clear. We can make mistakes. We can say things and we say, oh, you know what? If I could get a do-over, or let me apologize for it, let me humbly admit to where I was wrong. But what I find in a lot of us is, I got a hard time saying I'm sorry. I can't say I'm wrong because I'm almighty powerful. I'm Mother Nature. I'm Mother Earth. I'm the Christian of all Christians. So you watch these people, and then you watch our community say, oh yeah, it's just about the bag. Don't worry about your integrity. And that's the part when I say, y'all, but don't you see we're failing like that? We're failing, we're crumbling, worrying about the bag and not the integrity. And there's a book that our good brother, oh God, his name is on the tip of my tongue, and he would hit me in my head, Louis Gossett. And he wrote a book. And he said, what Hollywood knows about us is what one nigga won't do, another nigga will. That's why they know there'll always be niggas that'll take less in Hollywood.